Now, let's begin.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am back to do a review of Season 2, Episode 2 of The Tourist. And before we get started, I don't know if you're new here, usually I just give you a general review of my opinion of the episode and go a little bit of spoilers, and that's about it. I probably won't go heavy spoilers, but I'll give you an idea what happens in the episode and all that kind of stuff. But with this episode, just get out of the gate, it's good. It's still good. It still holds. It wasn't a filler. It's good. I really love the pacing of it. They do a lot of back and forth with each character's in it, but to do it in a way it's seamless. It's very well done. I'm still invested in the characters. Most of the characters in it. I really do. I wouldn't say care about, but of course, Helen and Elliot. The other ones, okay, I'm interested in, I guess you say, but all of them is pretty good, from what I can tell. And a lot of them I'm curious about and who they are and what their story is, kind of thing, right? And I'll explain that in a minute in the spoilers. But yeah, that's probably it. Just the gist of this episode is really good. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get in spoilers. So basically, I got written down here, if you see me looking down here. So basically, in the opening scene of the episode, there's a guy at a funeral, and he gets a phone call on his cell phone, and to tell him the person that passes away is gone. And so basically, it cuts to Helen calling the detective and say, "I just saw somebody get unalived." And if you wonder why I speak weird, it's the reason for it, because the algorithm might pick it up and say it's not worthy for people to see it because I say certain trigger words, as they say. So that's the reason I might have to say certain words differently than others, just to let you know. But anywho, so she calls the detective, let the detective know that she saw something. Well, the detective was home. He leaves his house, and this is the thing. The detective I still don't know. He's something about him, and that's what they're trying to do. I like how they kind of sprinkle him in the story, and you try to figure what is his place in the story, right? Like I said before. And there's another one in here I'm still kind of curious about. I don't know. You'll see what I'm getting at. So when the detective was leaving his house, his neighbor comes up and I forgot what his name is. He said, she's like, "What are you gonna do with that smell?" And he kind of just like pushes her away. It's like, "Oh, it's nothing. I'll take care of it," and all that kind of stuff. And so after that, it goes back to Elliot on the island trying to get out of there, and the other two gentlemen, the young gentleman, an older gentleman, and a lady was trying to come after him. The older gentleman had to go somewhere else. I forgot the reason for that, but the other two was on Fuller's trying to catch up with Elliot. And Elliot finally, he's running, got his cell phone, and he's trying to call out. Eventually, he does call out to Helen, and he just be able to tell her he's on an island in Ireland. That's all, and the phone disconnects. Let's see here. So basically, while he was on the run with Elliot, he goes to a abandoned cabin where he sees the younger gentleman get the was in the bathroom, using the bathroom. He comes out and he was able to grab the young guy's gun and take him hostage for a brief moment and start talking to him and see what his deal is and what his relationship is. And he's trying to get some information. But the young guy just really, he seems like a real nice guy. He seems like he's not involved in the struggle of trying to do whatever he's doing. All right, so you're trying to figure this situation out, right? Well, the camera goes back to Helen and the detective. The detective arrives with Helen, and Helen goes up to where she saw what took place, where that guy was unalived by Elliot's mom, and there was nobody there. And there's a guy named Frank McDonald there, and the detective knows him. He's like, "Have you saw anybody here?" Yada yada yada. And Frank's like, "No, what are you talking about?" Well, so basically after that, the detective and Helen goes back back out of the area and driving back, and at that point, Helen was asking questions, and the detective's like, "You don't know, do you?" Of course not, right? What there is what the situation is. There is how there is two families. It's kind of like the Hatfield and McCoy kind of thing. Elliot's family, his mom, is against Frank McDonald's family, and it's been dope for years and years, drugs and other things as well. And it goes after that. It goes back to see here, back to Elliot and the young guy, and he was just trying. And the young guy was trying to leave when he almost broke his leg going down the stairs. But he promised. But he's like, I promise you. He promised Elliot, if you get me out of here, I'll show you the way to get off this island. So the whole time, Elliot is kind of packing him along the way to get to the place he needs to go. And let's see here. So when the detective Helen goes back, so Helen is like asking the detective to do all this stuff, but it seemed like the detective don't want to do anything. Like he's not going hard into investigating this, and you can see the frustration for Helen because she is a kind of a detective or a police officer. She knows the procedures and the steps of what to do, right? Well, so the detective said, well, let me search through Elliot's bag and see if there's any signs of where he might can go. It bounces back to Elliot and the kid, or that young guy, and Elliot's like, I know you was Tommy that wrote the letter, because basically I think, if I'm understanding correctly in this episode, the letter that Helen had in the first episode, the letter was sent to the hospital or the police department the second time Elliot was in the hospital. So that was the reason. It was kind of a delay. Everybody knew about Elliot. He knows he's alive, and he was trying to coerce it to get him back to Ireland so they can do whatever they want to him, I guess, because how his family is, right? So, but after that, let's see, it bounces back to, let's see, yeah, Helen. Oh yeah, it bounces after go back to Detective Helen, and the detective was going through Elliot's bags, and Helen was there on the chair there watching, and the detective saw a ring box that has a ring in it, and at that point he's like, oh no, Elliot was going to propose to Helen, and Helen saw it, and she kind of like was all kinds of emotions, of course, all that kind of stuff. And see here, got that. So after that, the young guy, he was able to take Elliot in, stash him in a boat, kind of trick the young guy tricked his colleague to tell him that Elliot's gone. So he stashed Elliot in the bottom of the boat, and they traveled off the island to the location he was. And the reason for it is you can tell that the young gentleman really don't care. He along the way when he's walking with Elliot, like he don't really care about the situation. He wants to go home and watch TV and whatever. And you can see that he don't really care. He's not invested in the scheme of things, right? And I think Elliot sees that. He kind of don't mistreat him more than anybody else would, because he understands he's innocent. Not I would say innocent, but you get what I'm saying. At the same time, Frank McDonald called somebody and said, I need some help capturing or taking care of Elliot. Would you be on to it? And the guy said, yeah. Well, at that point, Elliot, after Elliot left from the boat, he goes to where the place where not Frank, but the other gentleman was that sells the alcohol. I forgot what it's called. Distillery. I can't pronounce that word, but you get what I'm saying. So he's going there. While that's going on, the camera goes back to Helen. Helen was going through some paperwork that she asked the police department or one of the guys there to be able to give her some information on a case. And the guy's like, I don't know if I can do that, but she talks him into it, and eventually he gives her some information on the case. She's going through it. and she saw a couple things in it. She's very puzzled, and I guess something that was very interesting, I guess, because of the pause. So she goes to the detective's house, and how does she know the address? She found his old magazine at the apartment and was able to find the address. She goes to the address. She walks in, and as soon as she walks in, she's kind of doing this, like this big smell. She yells, "Hey, I'm here. I'm sorry, I'm here. I have information. I saw some stuff on the case and got me wondering if you overlooked it or whatever." She goes downstairs and basically goes where the other room is, where the mannequin was, or the fake doll. She goes to another room, and she still the smell's getting worse and worse. And she looks, and the detective is underneath some kind of box working on something. I don't know if it's a furnace or whatever, but she looks to the left. She saw somebody, I don't know if it's his mom or what, that's unalived in the corner. And you can see, he's like, "I wish you didn't see that." And basically, and that was the end of that. But at one point, they bounces back and forth to Elliot. Elliot was in this museum and it saw something that has Elliot Stanley unknown. He pushes the button. He's like, I'm missing. It was like a statue or like a not puppet, but like a animatronic kind of thing. And he was curious about it. Looked like him. He's like, I wonder what it says. And it just says, I'm missing. Or it was kind of weird, but it bounced back to that story I just told you about Helen. And the video ends. And I went pretty quick on that. I try not to go too much into it. Like, I know my previous episodes, I went like bit by bit what's happened, but it's still good. I really, it's like I said, I absolutely love this show so far. I'm hoping it stays strong in the rest of the time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what episode 3 will hold, and we'll review and talk about that and go from there. All right, I guess we'll be done for today. I'll talk to y'all later.